This is the first time ever we've done this on Bulletproof Radio, and this is going to be breathing meditation and visualization from Dr. Barry from Energy for Success. And he's doing this just so you can all feel what this is. I specifically asked him to do it, and I told him to basically, he's not going to like what I says, to basically kick your ass. So this is very strong energy meditation, and I asked him to just show you what he's got because it is very powerful, special stuff. Here's what you need to do. If you're driving, you need to just not do this right now. Like actually stop what you're listening to. Don't listen to this even if you think it's not going to affect you, because honestly, I don't know what it's going to do to you. But don't drive with this on. And if you're about to walk into a board meeting, maybe this isn't the right time to do it. I think you're going to feel really good at the end of it, but just give yourself a little bit of time. Do this at the end of the day. Do this when you wake up in the morning, and you can always replay on iTunes as much as you need to. So there's no missing out on this. But just heed this warning. Pay attention to what I'm saying, and Dr. Barry is going to show you what he's got.
Hello. Hi. As you already know, this is going to be your opportunity to enjoy just taking in the source energy from not only one place, but just from all around you. And the guided visualization that I'm going to do with you is so easy for you. You can just sit back and relax while we do it. And you don't have to be a certain way. It'd be great if you could sit or lie down. The only thing is you don't want to be driving a car. You would like to be pull off to the side and just enjoy the next minutes that we go through this breathing guided visualization that encompasses many of the vibrations that are associated with this discipline that's been around for 5,000 years and really has a great benefit for all of us. Afterwards, we'll give you a few things that you can then use the energy for as far as goals. So once we finish, take a little time with me and enjoy making a little project at the end for yourselves. But for right now, what I'd like for you to do is to either turn out the lights in your room or pull over to a place where it's completely at least shaded or dark. But we're going to close our eyes now, and then we're just going to take a break. And during this phase, when we close our eyes, all I want you to do is just, let your eyes just go like that. Let them close. And then once they're closed, you can just sort of relax and let your body just, just go back against the chair or lie on the bed or lying on the table, either a relaxing table or the floor. And just let your body just take the contour of whatever it is that you're lying against. And what's interesting is that it's after a second or two, it's actually quite, easy to just readjust your shoulders or your neck so that you can just, you can stretch, you can let yourself, just fold back into a chair. And what gets to be even more interesting with your eyes closed is that you can take a deep breath, and it's very easy to take a breath even deeper. And as you take that deeper breath, we're going to dim the lights here for a while and allow you just to sail off into the wonderful vibrations that make up so much of existence itself. So we'll darken the place for us, and then we'll bring the lights back on. So you want to keep your eyes closed and just listen. So we'll start that part now, and we'll make it completely dark as you can make it where you are, and we'll make it dark here. Thank you. So while you're sitting there, and while you're lying there, and while you're starting to breathe and readjust your shoulders and your back and your neck, just recognize, like we were just saying a moment ago, that you actually can, it's not difficult to take a deeper breath, a breath that's so much deeper that you find that you can, some people expand their upper chest. Other people find out, if they just give it a second or two, and you can expand both sides of your chest at the same time. Go ahead and try that. And as each breath follows the next breath, you recognize that it becomes even easier to breathe even deeper. And as you breathe deeper, you may feel your stomach expand. You may feel the posterior of your middle back and low back actually expand, so that your whole, not only upper body, but you can actually start to feel it even lower down around your waist as you breathe. Go ahead, try it. And what I really enjoy so much is that with this type of relaxing breathing, it's not difficult, really not at all, for you to, as you keep your eyes closed, is sort of have your neck just get a little more relaxed and maybe fall back a little bit and take a deeper breath with your mouth open and blow it out. And then notice that, you can let your neck just sort of come back to somewhat of a neutral position and slightly tilted back. But as you breathe in this position, it gets more and more evident that there's sort of a black screen that's somewhere, across this area that's, in front of you. It's just sort of maybe, where your eyes, if they could look out in front of you, they would see something. Only you're looking from the inside. Not hard, but just actually allowing it to appear. And for some people, that screen's black. Other people, it's sort of, pebbly. It has a surface to it. Other people, it has black and then a little bit of gray. And then some people, they'll see the screen there in front of them, right around where your forehead is, and maybe out a few inches or farther, that it sort of moves. Actually, it can be moving, and it can even appear and then disappear, appear and disappear. And as you watch it and get more comfortable with watching that screen, what is so much fun to recognize is that it gets more interesting as you start to look around on that screen surface, and you start to recognize that, it isn't so smooth all the time. It sort of like moves a little bit. It moves a little bit this way and that way. And then if you look off to the edges on that screen, you can see that even though it's a dark screen, there's little flickers of light actually occurring in different places on the screen. Sometimes it's off to the right, you'll see a flicker, and sometimes off to the left, sometimes way down to the right, sometimes some rolling around the center, and maybe in both areas at the same time, left and right of the screen, or north and south. But what's really funny is these little, almost like lightning bugs, just boom, the light comes on, and then there's like a trail of light, and then it disappears all against this black, somewhat irregular surface screen that seems to come in and out of focus, just like the little lights. That what's really neat is that you can, as you're learning to breathe deeper, and as you take a deeper breath, you start to recognize that these little flickers of light can actually coalesce. They can actually coalesce into the center, right there into the center of the screen. And as you watch those little lights actually connect into the center, they don't just sit still. They sort of like rotate, and they sort of roll over on themselves, and then roll over to the right and roll over to the left. And they all don't even move the same direction as it sort of comes more into the center of that screen. And as you look more in a focused manner towards that beautiful, light surface that's appearing there, it sort of goes into focus and then out of focus, into focus, out of focus. It's fine. Just sort of enjoy that there's sort of a little sphere there, like a dot. It can be infinitesimally small, then it can get a little bigger. But what's interesting is that it rotates and it doesn't stop. It keeps moving a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, a little bit, on its axis in towards the north, then towards the south. It never seems to be the same size, or the surface may be smooth for a while and then it'll change and part of it will be rough. But what's interesting that it sort of appears like it's a gold, silver, platinum type of surface. It's got that sheen to it. And what's really fun now is as we take a breath like we've been doing, even deeper through your nose and then down as far as you feel like you can take that breath. And as you breathe it in, you notice that little gold, silver, platinum dot sphere. Actually, you can notice it'll follow your breath down. Yeah, you can breathe it and it'll go right down in front of your eyes. It can go right down, right down from the center of, your head. You can bring it down through to your neck, and you can breathe again, and you can bring it down to your heart, and you can breathe it down, and it'll actually float on down and follow you down to your abdomen. It's interesting. It'll follow a direction, and then you can, as you take another breath, you can notice that because that pathway has already been made, as you breathe again, it'll zip all the way back up to that spot where it was on the screen, if you allow it to. And then as you take another breath, this excited, friendly, been waiting for you for centuries, gold, silver, platinum dot. Actually, as you breathe it down now, you can have it breathe all the way down to where your chest is and then down to your abdomen, and then it can even split right up, where your pelvis is and go down through your thighs and down through your knees. You can just breathe it down there. You'll see it for a second, then it'll disappear. Then you'll see it again, it'll disappear. But you'll see this light that actually it's almost palpable sometimes. But it's a rough little tiny dot that you can watch go down your abdomen, down both legs, down your knees, down to your calves. And what's interesting is you can let it rest there in your calves for a second. And whether you're enjoying your knowledge of anatomy or not, it's pretty easy to see that you could have that little dot sort of spread out a little bit and go in between the different muscles, because there's so many spaces in between the muscles that are in your calves. And not only is there spaces between the muscles, actually the muscles themselves are made up of a lot of fibers that have a lot of spaces in them. And so the little light beam can actually perfuse all through those little muscle structures. And, your leg, you can just sort of, shake it out a little bit, just let it rotate a little bit. And take a breath and let that beam go all the way down again. You can shake the right leg a little bit. And then you can let that beam just sort of plunk, go down into your heel, into all the calcaneus bones, and the talus. So many different bones in your feet. They're all little tiny bones, and yet you stand on it all day. And yet it's just sort of a surface with ligaments and little tiny bones that somehow create this cushiony surface, but there's tons of space in there. And all that space in there is just open field for that beam. If you'll just watch it, if you get down there with it, you'll see that it can just sort of split and go through so many different spaces that are in your foot that, you can meander around all through, the heel part of your foot, and then where the arch is. And actually your foot can feel even a little more spongy. And as you feel that, you notice that the gold, silver, platinum dot can sort of spread out. They can divide up into, 10 different dots and roll around until finally it enters into the area where, your little toe is, and your big toe, and all of a sudden you sort of look down, you see all these little gold, silver, platinum dots in your foot, both sides, and it's just sort of rotating between those spaces in your feet, also some left in your calf, and it sort of brightens up the whole area. You can sometimes almost like you can see through your foot. It's exciting to notice. This little dot is fun to enjoy as it moves around. And as you bring it back up from your feet, you can have it leave a trail of light as it comes back up through your calves, through your knees. And some people may want to let it float around through the different areas, because the knee actually is, you don't have to be a doctor to know, that it has so many spaces in it. It's got these ligaments and fluid in there, and different areas where the light can just sort of move around in these spaces very comfortably, and then go up around through the muscles of your thigh and into, on both sides into your hips. And then what's really cool is that some people, when they look at a microscope, if they look at the bone, they sort of notice that the bone structure is really a lot of space again. It's a lot of spicules that sort of connect like a web. It's not like the bone is some type of incredibly solid material. It's actually a material that actually can really flex, which is great for us because this allows you to do, diving off the high dive and diving anywhere, doing tumbling, doing gymnastics, doing any sport. And you can move yourself around, tumble, and your bones actually will give you a break. They actually don't break. They actually, respond. They bend like the bamboo and give you a chance to flex in, flex out, and enjoy so many different activities that maybe after these exercises you'll want to start, participating in again. But as you breathe up that dot as it comes up through the area where your abdominal aorta is, you start to see, oh my gosh, look at all those big red blood vessels there. I know they're there somewhere. And as the dot comes up through the blood and around through the different veins and up through your chest, you can breathe it, and somehow you start to notice that you can breathe it right into the heart. And then it can circle around through the different, ventricles and right and left and go into the atrium, these little spaces, and just sort of as the heart pumps, like a little ping pong ball just keeps, or a little marble keeps going, bounced up and down while it's rotating around inside your heart, and this sort of fuses out into the muscular structure and then fuses out into the space that's around the heart where they have this little sac called the pericardium. And what's fun is with that gold, silver, platinum dot, it sort of has the ability to get in between the space of the heart, the pericardium, and then with a breath, you can just sort of let the heart drop a little bit and relax. And as you bring that dot up to your neck, and then up to that screen again, it's okay while we're watching this dot to just yawn if you want to. You can actually just let yourself just release all that. And if you yawn the entire time, it's fine. It's fine. And as you yawn or don't yawn, as you're getting more facile, looking at that little dot on that screen and noticing that it just loves to follow your intent or your motivation in a certain direction, you can breathe it, down into your neck, where the bones of your neck are, and the swallowing mechanism and your talking mechanism, your breathing mechanism, all the trachea and the larynx, but also the thyroid gland. Some people, really enjoy letting their whole thyroid just find the little gold, silver, platinum dot roll around between all those nice looking cells that are in the thyroid, if you still got one. Or if you still have a thymus, there's areas for that, or a parathyroid gland. And you don't have to know where they are. Just like you didn't know where this gold, silver, platinum dot was going to be in your body, there's a lot of discoveries you can make without having to actually pinpoint it. You can just sort of focus it in that direction and let it spread out through the whole neck and just catch everything that's there that it would enjoy to pass through. And then you can breathe it back up into that center space. But oh, well, now that you're getting, able at doing this, let it just go on up even farther. Let that dot just go above your head. You can just have it go up about 12, 15 feet above your head. You can look up and see, wow, that thing went up just like a geyser right out to the top of my head, and I'm still okay, and I'm watching that thing. Only now it's like a ball way up there that you can see that's sort of, like it was on a geyser, only you don't see anything beneath the gold, silver, platinum ball other than the balls rotating around, and you can see its surface, sometimes rough, sometimes pebbly, sometimes smooth. And then we'll go ahead and just let it go on up on its own. And it's like a kite. It'll just keep floating up there and up even higher into the atmosphere so that you can actually see that, the dot actually can make its way through clouds, and you keep moving up, and you can, as if you could pull yourself on, some infinite string of strength that connects you to that dot always. You can just sort of let yourself ride up with it. And, you can feel somewhat like you're a little bit lighter, or you can feel just like, okay, I'll just let go and follow it and just have some fun here, like you're holding on to some type of cord while you're watching it, it's safe. Go ahead. And as it floats up and keeps moving up through the clouds, you sort of ride up there too, and you notice that, oh, this is kind of refreshing. And you can, since we're all here in outer realms, you can actually feel the clouds sort of, cleanse up under your ears and beyond your low back and upper back, under your knees. And sort of a cooling sensation as the gold, silver, platinum ball seems to be like a little bit of a guide now. It's leading you up even higher. And as you start to go higher, you start to notice these blue shards keep coming through the clouds until finally you're above the clouds, and it's actually this incredibly beautiful, clear blue in every direction. You can look to the left, and it goes on and on and on and on. And the gold, silver, platinum ball is still, above you. But as you look to the right and left, as you keep rising up, you notice that this is like an interesting blue in that it's so clear, and yet it's blue. Or you can put your hands out, try to touch it, and there's nothing to touch, and yet it's visible, and you can walk through it. It's fascinating that as your eyes get more clear, as you keep going higher in this atmosphere, you start to recognize in the distance there's these gorgeous, gorgeous mountains that look like any of the most gorgeous mountains you've ever seen, that have just multiple different size, smaller mountains underneath them. And they seem to go way up into the distance there, where there's some are snow-capped. And as you look past some of the mountains, you notice that there's like a flash of orange or red light that keeps going every so often. As that flash goes up, you start to see that, I wonder why that keeps going up like that into the sky and sending shooting streams of red and orange that go in the sky. And they sort of, since there's sort of a canopy experience here, they sort of float over above you. You see these light beams that come back from that light that's all in the distance. And you figure it must be some type of volcano or molten colored material that keeps exploding like that. And you actually can hear that boom that goes every so often after you get to see the light, because the light goes so much faster than the speed of sound. So it's a little bit, you get to watch the light much longer, and then every so often there's the boom. So what's really fun to notice is the colors start coming over the whole canopy above you and form, you'll see a green color, and then an orange, and then yellow, and then a red. They're just all these streamers. They form like threads that actually go with the gold, silver, platinum ball and sort of coordinate as they rotate down that thin, thin string you were holding on to before that was beneath the ball. And now you can actually hold on to this beautiful corded structure, braided with all these different colors, that's much more handy to keep your hands around and let the ball just keep pulling you up. And as you get to be pulled up higher and higher, and as you get to go up to a place where you start to say, wow, I saw the mountains in the distance, but now I'm very close to some big green mountain where there's all this grass that's apparent beneath me as, the blue keeps clearing. And it seems like this is a real comfy, safe mountain. It doesn't look craggy, and there's no snow on it. It looks like it's just, a lot of, more sort of a medium-sized one that has just beautiful green grass everywhere, and trees. And sort of as you float up and the green area is right beneath you, well, what the heck? The gold, silver, platinum ball just stay there and be your guide. And actually, you just sort of let go and land right on that soft, well-worn path that goes up through the green grass on the hill. And as you go up, you start walking, the beam little ball just sort of leads the way. And, you sort of let your hand float through all the different, green blades of grass that are so green that it's almost like you want to touch it as it sort of flicks against your palms, and you sort of feel this sort of little fun, tickly feeling as you sort of walk your hands through the green, and you just keep playing. Go ahead. There's no problem if you, really pull your hand through deeply into the grass and move it back. It even makes sort of like a sound, like you've got a musical instrument that you can move your hands through all these different blades of grass as you keep walking around this well-worn dirt path that goes up, 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 around and around as you go up around this beautiful, mountain that seems to be so, interesting because it's got beautiful trees everywhere. You see them to the left, you see them to the right. There's some trees have smaller leaves, some have bigger leaves. But as you're walking and you start to notice that, well, there's this one area where the trees take you, if you stay on your path here, the path actually leads right through a very dense area of trees where there's not a lot of space, but there's enough space for, well, easily 2, 3, 4 people, but it's still a more narrow space as you go through a forest. And as you look up, you see the sun shining through the leaves, and you see the birds going back and forth in the trees, and you notice that as you look up, you can see that, you're not that far from the leaves of the trees. They're all like sitting there above, blowing in the wind. And what's so much fun to notice is that the leaves are not only floating, the birds are moving back and forth, but actually as you're walking through this sort of like a pathway, a tunnel through the forest, as you're walking on this dirt path, the tree leaves that you keep looking up at, your head keeps seeming to be about the same space between your space of your top of your head and where these branches are. So there's always room for you, except you notice that this pathway, the space above you, as you looked in a distance, keeps going up, so that somehow you keep being taller and taller with each step you take. So it actually is the top of the space there that you're walking through in the forest, where the branches are, they keep rising, and even though your feet are on the dirt path, you keep getting taller and taller and taller. And so as you get out there and you come out finally into the open space, what's really interesting is that you can allow yourself to maybe look around and see what else is there. And you can see, oh, there's a narrow path that goes off of this. Now that I'm so large, though, and so big, I've never had a body this big, I actually could sort of really jog that path and go right up to where, quite a distance to where that mountain lake is. And this lake is so beautiful. It's like gold surfaces around it, and the lake is bluish green, and it's clear, and you can hear a waterfall that's very close. And so, as big as you are, though, you decide to sit down on the edge of this beautiful lake and put your feet in the water and just see how clear it is. And it's beautiful that it's so clear that you can make this sound as you just move your feet in the water. And it takes some of the water and sort of rub it in your hands, and it just almost the water disappears on your hands as soon as it gets there. Matter of fact, you actually have to really exert yourself to keep the water from disappearing as you bring it out of the big surface of this interesting lake. And so you take the water and say, oh, I'm just going to put my head down and try to wash my hair, wash my face, wash the back of my neck, and let all that soothing, cool water really, have its benefit. And just take that in. And many, many times, once you start to feel the benefit of the water, it gets you sort of this bigger interest to see what else is here in this lake. And what's exciting is the lake goes around this edge, and as you come back around the edge on a further walkway, you see, oh, there's the sound I was hearing. There's the waterfall. And so you go up to the waterfall and you put your hands in the water on the edge of it, and you just feel the pelting of the different drops of water as it comes down. And again, the funny thing is you look through the different water drops as they come down, somehow with the reflection with the sunlight, it actually becomes sort of almost like a kaleidoscope of colors keep bursting out through the water drops. And so you put your hands in there and you put your shoulders under the water. It's almost like it's your own personal shower as you're standing on these rocks. And you put a little check mark here and you go, the next time I do this wonderful practice, I'm going to come back here because I can see there's another pathway underneath the waterfall that leads someplace that I want to check out. But for right now, that gold, silver, platinum beam sort of spreads out like it's a little surface, like a sled, and you can like lay back on it a little bit and take that cord and just wrap that cord sort of that was there around your waist and let just, almost like it's a surface that will guide you down the whole surface of the mountain, like a sleigh. It brings you all the way down, around and around and around down as you drop lower and lower through all the different beautiful colors of blue, and then down through the clouds. And then finally, as you keep going down, safely down and around, you sort of enter safely on this beautiful shore. It's a beautiful beach. It's sort of this white sand. And as you're sitting there on the sand, with seeing the ocean coming in and sort of gently washing your feet, you feel the sand. The sand is like silk. It's almost like you can touch it and slips through your fingers and reminds you as you look up there where you just were, where everything started as you touched it, and it like was only for a moment and then it was gone. And the water washes your feet as it goes back and forth, and you can hear a sound way down on the beach, but on the shoreline, there's really no people except some beautiful birds that keep flying in and out, way out in the distance over the ocean. And as you take that deep breath, that's become so much easier to use, and let yourself just breathe even fuller, you can see that behind you on a grassy knoll is a big, huge tree about, 150 yards just behind you and above you. And that tree has these beautiful leaves that seem to float back and forth on the branches, but one of those leaves starts to float down, and as it goes down and floats around and goes down and floats down and around, till finally, with the wind, lets go and it lands on some beautiful grass. It starts to remind you of those incredible long green sheaves of grass that you were playing with before. But as that leaf touches, it's sort of, you can see that that's our signal that we'll begin to take all this and use our hands now with our eyes closed and just rub your hands together. So go ahead and rub your hands. You can hear me. And you're going to rub your hands together and then just put your hands over your eyes. That's right. And you can put one hand on top of the other. You can put them 6 inches apart. You can put them 12 inches apart from your eyes. You can put them as far as you can reach. All of those are wonderful, and they all allow you to lock in all the different vibrations that you've been so smart to pull in, that your body has done for you. And so as you let that go in, it goes right through. Whether you can feel it or not, it's not important. There's all kinds of vibrations. Some you feel, some you see, some you hear, some you don't see, hear, feel, but they're there. And these vibrations are a huge spectrum. So let them just float on in to any place in your brain, the center, the back of your neck. And then as you take another breath, just rub your hands a second. Your hands can be cool or they can be warm. They don't have to be any specific temperature. And then put one hand on top of the other hand on top of its same, or you put the two hands sideways together and you put it on your chest or a few inches away and just breathe. Some of you may want to put your hands, a foot away from your chest. Any distance is fine. Just let all that in. It's yours. It's always been yours. As you take that in, just let it roll through your body, through the different ribs and through the lungs. There are all these little spaces in the lungs, so it's very easy to take it in and around back to the heart where we were before. And let it just, keep emanating back. You don't even have to feel it, or you might. And then rub your hands. Last time, I promise you, this is it. We're going to close, and then you put this over your belly button. One hand on top of the other. One hand next to each other, left on top of right on top of left. Doesn't matter, whichever is the most comfortable. And put it over your belly button or around that area. And some people smile when they get to this spot. It's okay, nobody's watching. You can smile as much as you want and just take it in. If there ever was a safe space, this is it. So as you take a deeper, deeper breath and notices the sort of emanations or vibrations, whatever you sense or don't feel anything, you just enjoy keeping your hands in this position over your belly button. You just let your lower back readjust and let your abdomen sort of take a huge, space in and out as you breathe. And then with a big smile, we're going to come back into the space we occupied before. We're going to open our eyes, and then we're going to either write out a goal, or you're going to remember a goal you want to make to have happen for today and this week. So we'll turn the visualization back on so that everybody can now see with your eyes open, and you're all smiling, whether it's raining outside or whether the sun's out. But the key is you've now taken a huge contribution time for yourself. And if you do this right now that you've gone through all these different levels and vibrations, and this is a starting process, as you can imagine, you take this farther and farther and farther for your own benefit. But right now, make a goal. You don't have to go, 3 hours of taking in vibrations. Your body's so excited to do this for you, it will take off. So make a goal for the rest of today. Whatever, in any of the areas that the energy is so well known to take off in, which is, either in, serendipity, having things occur for you, something you want to have happen, somebody you want to meet, or some business deal you want to come through, increasing your income today, or increasing your income for the week or for the whole year, or having it be easier to make your money so you have more free time. The energy is all about your being able to be multi-potential, so you don't have to have anxiety, because it really doesn't give you much benefit when you're actually expanding to be able to do things and you're experiencing your competence. You don't have to fake it. You're just feeling competence, and you go out there and learn each step of the way. And so the whole thing about being nervous or anxious just doesn't have to be there, as long as you stay in this zone or flow state of the energy, which is quite easy to do, you see, as you do these exercises and make that goal. That's what you want for the rest of the day, or make all of those as what you want for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. And of course, you could make other goals. You want to be happier throughout the day, but this, as you can see, has a natural happiness, association with it as much as you want. And also, you get to find out that your abilities from here on out, especially if you're someone who does anything right away with either thinking or with your hands, you'll notice it'll become much easier, because people find out that their creativity and their intelligence all seem to flow together, and their body becomes more flexible and stronger after they do these guided visualizations. And if you do them more than once a day, then it really can empower your whole day to even work through all types of things. We have doctors who are doing this with their nurses in between surgeries, and the whole staff feels better. You don't have to really take some type of power drink just to be able to get going. You can actually use what you're really made to use, which is all these wonderful vibrations that you can take in as you breathe and go along through the different levels, as we were doing. In closing, I wanted to show you, for those of you who wanted to see just how you rub your hands, you can go to the website, and we've got so many different applications that have these breathing exercises in them. But I just wanted you to see that with your hands, for right now, when you rub your hands, it can be cold, it can be hot, it can be warm, it can be sweaty, it can be dry. And then you just put them over your eyes. That was the way we were doing. I just wanted to give you a demo, because you did that other part with your eyes closed. And you can put it right here, you can put it right on your eyes, you can touch your eyes, it doesn't matter. And then you hold it there for as long as that you feel it's comfortable, or maybe as long as you have time for it. But, a minute or two is fine. And you don't have to guide anything. Actually, more is working in your favor in this body than you ever took advantage of. And this is your entrance into taking advantage of all the wonderful things that you've been given as a birthright. So then rub your hands again and just put it over your chest. And all we're doing is recreating for you all the practice of sort of locking in after you've done the guided visualization. And wherever you are in the world that you're listening to this, whether you're on an airplane, whether you're in an office, you're in a car, whether you're in Italy, whether you're in Russia, whether you're in South America, it will work not only actively, but it'll keep going and going. So don't forget to make your goals, when you're finally closing it up. And you can even make it before you do the visualization, but it really works afterwards. And then rub your hands for the last time, and then put it over your belly button. You can put it here like this. You can touch, you can not touch, or you can put it out here, or you can hold it like this. Like all of a sudden you're holding this wonderful, well, maybe that's what we'll do in the next guided visualization. See what you can hold when your hands are out here, or you can hold it here, or hold it here. There's so many different places that you can enjoy using the energy, but let the energy follow your goals. Have a great time in your life. Go out and be successful. Enjoy every person you're going to see. Enjoy looking in the mirror. Enjoy your entire day. And make sure when you go to bed tonight that you say you want to sleep and have great dreams. I'll see you next time. Thank you.